Just a quick side note, the footage that I was going to use for this video didn't really record properly, so if some stuff that I'm talking about doesn't match exactly what you're seeing, then rest assured they will pop up in the video and you will recognize them, so it's okay. So, without further ado, hello everyone, ockpii here, and today I am revisiting this game called Cube World. And obviously you guys know about it, I've covered it in my channel before, and it was supposedly going to be 2013's big thing in terms of, indie games. Well, one of the big things. Of course, Starbound also came out around the same time, so everyone was expecting that to be a huge deal as well. But in this video, I want to have a look at some of the reasons as to why I think that Cube World didn't work. What could have gone better, and just overall what failed. Why is this game so forgotten now? No one talks about this game. No one even plays this game anymore. So, yeah, I would like to just discuss a few of the things that made this game not work. But doesn't mean that it's perpetually doomed, but, you know, it's gonna be hard bringing it back from the dead. Okay, anyway, so, upon release, this game had a very, very big issue, like, from the gate right away, which was the store. The store didn't work. If you guys remember, the first like 5 or 6 days of the store were completely not working. So you tried to buy the game, but the website would crash and you wouldn't be able to access the store or anything like that. So that's a pretty big deal, and that's pretty big in like making you not want to buy it, or be like, oh, okay, I'll just get around to it later, and then you don't. So yeah, that was one of the things. And so having a non-functional store for a game that's come out and then there's a rush of people wanting to buy it. First of all, I don't really know why he wasn't ready for that. Maybe he just didn't want to pay that much money for the bandwidth or something like that. But in any case, he wasn't worried. He wasn't ready for that, rather. And that was a huge mistake, because then you have to stop the hype at that point. Like, there's a bunch of hype for your game, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, you can't get it yet. It's like a little bit of a tease. But yeah, I've always thought that was kind of a big issue with it. Not the biggest, obviously. Trust me, that's not the biggest issue. Another thing that was kind of bad with it is that if you remember, oops, sorry about that. I'm kind of relearning the controls because I just wanted to play it for this video because I actually really like this game. But also, if you remember, there was another thing that happened. An entire week before the actual release of the game, there were people on YouTube playing it. But then there was like a break where no one was playing it anymore. Like the YouTube people streamers were already, you know, done playing it, or weren't playing it as much. And it was like, oh my goodness, hype! Cube World is about to come out. And then it didn't come out, and then there was a buggy store which didn't work for like a week. So that was like a lot of misdirected hype from people. I'm using the term hype, but like, you know, just willingness of people to play the game, just like the will of, oh my goodness, I want to play this new game. You know, it kind of wears down, and a lot of that is also like poor management of the project itself by Wooly and Pixie, but mainly Wooly. Because if you also remember, like whenever he posted something on the blog, it was like either a huge wall of text with some images and then silence for a few months, or he would just post a couple of images and silence for a few months. So that was also like, you can't really keep people excited for a game when you don't really have. It's a little bit like YouTube. I understand that, like, if you're doing YouTube and you don't maintain a consistent schedule or something like that, it's going to be hard for you to, you know, be recognized without having the consistent schedule. It's like I talked about once. If you want to be, you know, people want to know that they're going to be consistently entertained by your channel, and for that they need to know that you'll be consistently there to entertain them. So yeah, that's something that happened as well. So, yeah, that was a little bit of poor management by them. But there's something else that we kind of need to consider, is that this was always considered their side project, from what I understand from the stuff that I read in his blog. So I don't know if a game that's made as a side project and is even classified as a side project by the developer can even be considered, can even get to be a success like that, because if you're not giving it your all, if you're not really trying to, if you're not trying to make it to make it your life, then I think you might run into some problems. Yeah, die. Like Starbound people, they're giving it their all. People quit their jobs to work on that game to make sure there was a success. And yeah, I don't know if Wooly having taken this, a little bit more seriously and wanting to make this a bigger deal would have made a huge impact. I think it would, because if you spend more time developing the game, you're gonna have more stuff to show people. That's one thing. And then there's another thing, which is you would also post more stuff on the blog and thus keeping people more interested, and also developing the game faster, which will also keep people interested longer. Yeah. Another thing that happened, and actually I think this is like two problems, and it also happened with Starbound, which is also why I didn't really play Starbound on release, but why I'm considering playing it again now. When Starbound came out, let's focus on Cube World now, and I'll explain what happened to Starbound later. When Cube World came out, there was nothing to do. You could get items, and you could grind for stuff. But once you were done doing that, that was it. Game over, pretty much. Like, once you got to, was it level 100? I don't really remember. That was it. Happy birthday. You got to the current end game. And then it was like, okay, what do I do now? There's no quests, there's no really functional NPCs, so, there's not really a lot that I can do in this game. And yeah, when the game was released, the bosses were in the quests and the areas weren't really working that well, and some of the stuff was like, there's not anything to do. The bosses don't really do anything, or they're super duper hard. Like, there was a huge difficulty spike that was like, okay, this is the place where I started on the map, and then if I move 2 inches to the left, I am dead, because stuff just ramped up difficulty so quickly. And yeah, that was a pretty big thing. I don't know where I'm going. I'm just exploring. This game looks pretty. So yeah, that disparity, was a little strange. But yeah, the big thing was that there wasn't anything to do, and all you could do really was grind and explore this cool world, this cool looking world. But even then, the world can only be so cool as the content that you put into it. So there's a big problem there. What happened to Starbound was that when it came out, it was kind of confusing, and you didn't really know what to do. The side quests helped, but even then, the side quest descriptions weren't that descriptive. Excuse me for the redundance, but that was also an issue that happened there. And apart from that, there was not a lot to do. There were items there, but you needed to grind quite a bit. Starbound is a little bit too grindy for my taste, at least at the moment. But now that the game's getting more stable to the point where I can be like, okay, at least I'm not gonna lose my save. I'm gonna start picking it back up again. But yeah, its problem is nothing like Cube World's. Cube World's literally had nothing to do apart from checking items out and stuff like that. And it's kind of a funny thing. Apart from all of that, you were given an incomplete product on July or May 2013, and it's been almost a year, which I also think makes it kind of fitting that I'm covering it now. It's almost been a year that Cube World came out, and we have gotten 2 patches for the game. There were only 2 patches for the game post-release. So you had... Can I pick this bow up? What the heck is it doing here? Interesting. My end is super better, but I can, sell it or something. There's a guy there. Yeah, there were 2 patches. One of them was a quick bug fix. Can I kill this guy? One of them was a quick bug fix, and like 2 of them, like kind of killed really fun features that, when you're balancing a game out, you can do it based on PvP or something like that, that's good. So when there's certain mechanics that are OP, for example, this, which is using the main attack and the secondary attack on the archer, excuse me, then you used to be able to just spam full damage shots, or not full damage, but and what was apparently intended to work was that the more you attack, the more your spell bar gets filled, and the more it's filled up, the MP bar, the more it's filled, then the more damage your secondary arrow would do, just like that. But that used to be able to charge as you're spamming stuff, and as you can see, it isn't doing anything if I'm just spamming it now, apart from being extremely loud and nothing happening. So when you're balancing stuff like that, it makes sense to do it by PvP standards, but I don't know. It wasn't exactly that OP, and it was kind of fun. And if you're not going to spend more time making other stuff more interesting, then removing fun abilities like that, or fun, glitches or unintended features like that, it can be a little bit, so, okay, what do I get in return? Oh, I get a more fully functional game that's incomplete. Okay, that's also good, but, it would be nice to actually do some stuff with the new features that are working as intended now. Another thing that they did was they removed something related to hang gliders and, like, jumping a ton. Like, cause you could get, like, crazy speeds with the hang glider and float a bunch of time or something like that, where you just use this jump all over the time. I don't remember what happened though, but you can still, like, if you jump at the right time, you can still maintain the speed on this character. So, not everything's fixed. So that's a thing. What's funny though is that they didn't even address some of the most OP stuff in the game. For example, why in the archer, why can you jump, instead of just jumping backwards in the direction that your back is facing, why can you actually jump towards the cameras? Because that obviously allows for you to jump way faster and forwards. So if that is the case, why can't you just have a directional jump? So that is a pretty non-fixed OP stuff. And the other thing is that the other character that can go stealth and is like OP and whatever, that guy is so nuts. Like, you can attack stuff without even touching it once because you can just make everything dodge enemies' attacks. That one's crazy. That one didn't get touched. So I don't know what is the logic behind the balances and all that. So yeah, it's just weird. Yeah, in this patch, it's actually from July 2013, so it was like I think 1 week after the game was out, and then, like a couple of days or maybe another week after that patch, there was another patch, and that was it. So yeah, Cube World, I don't know if being put aside as a side project doomed it from the beginning, but I think that the game started losing its throne even before it was out, just because, poor management in terms of maintaining the hype, so to speak. Starbound had some similar problems to Cube World, but the thing that Starbound did better was it had people actually, excuse me, had people working to make it better right away. You didn't have to wait till stuff was fixed and excuse me. Dang. You didn't really have to wait till, stuff was fixed in Starbound. It just was after not too long. Because, they were dedicated to making it work, and when you have a team that knows what they're doing and that's, working full-time on the game, then you can afford to, have a somewhat messy release date. Or, not release date, but release period of the game where stuff is, very alpha-ish. And Cube World didn't have that. Cube World was released into the wild, and then it was like, okay, fellas, good luck, see you in a couple of years. So, yeah, Starbound had that going for it. Cube World didn't have that going for it. So, I believe that was probably one of the big factors that caused it to fail. Right now, it's a little bit scary when you look at Twitter's account and you see that he's working on HUD. Where is my HUD? What is the key for the, not the HUD, the menu thingy. Menu. Or the inventory, rather. Where is that? Inventory. There you go. So, it's kind of scary when you see that the last few things that Wooly's been working on is a new zone with new mobs. It still doesn't really fix the problem that the game had before. We didn't have lack of mobs, we just have lack of things to do. So he's adding another zone with more mobs. Not a lot of mobs, but some more mobs, and it looks orangey. Then he's adding a new menu to this thing that is about quest-related items. And quest-related items are a thing if there's quests, which there currently aren't any. There currently are any? There aren't any quests at the moment. And if he's adding a lot of quests, he's not adding quests per se. I think he was adding like a smart mechanisms for quests to happen or something like that. It was kind of confusing. I don't really remember, but it seemed kind of interesting. You know, I'm always left wondering, is it too little, too late? Ouch. Let's see, another thing that he was, yeah, those were essentially the two things that he was adding, like support for quests and a new zone. And those tweets were like, I don't know, a few months from each other. So even then, you get the sense of, okay, so there's someone working in this game, but why should I take this game seriously when even the devs are like, we'll do it sometime. And you know, don't think that I'm saying like, what the heck, he's not devoting his life to this. What is he doing, wasting our time with the game? No, that's not what I'm saying. It's fine if you want to. It's totally fine if Wooly wants to keep this as a side project. That's totally fine. I'm not saying he should dedicate his life to something he doesn't want to dedicate his life into. What I am saying is that, like, why this game doesn't work. That's all I'm talking about. He's totally free to not want to have this be his full-time job as of now. Or, you know, it might not even be a possibility for him right now. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying there's stuff wrong with the game, and I'm just analyzing the game as it is. I'm not exactly analyzing Wooly's personal situation, or, you know, you get the point. I'm not bashing on him for not doing things this way. I'm just saying why the game didn't go wrong, because sometimes people ask me, like, what happened to Kira? What it was so cool, what happened? So I decided to talk a little bit about that. So, you don't ever get the sense that this game's going to really be relevant, because the devs are really, you know, they're really relaxed with it, and that's obviously something they're entitled to, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But if you want to, you know, create an indie game and be successful with it, there are certain things that you need to do differently, and there are certain accommodations that you have to do to the market that you're intending to market your game for. So, that is my opinion on why Cubeworld wasn't a success, or why it was a very short-lived success. I think it would have been a success if it had been accompanied a lot more by blog posts and overall hype management by Wooly and Pixie. What I mean by that is them maintaining the interest that people had. Because there was a lot of hype managed or created when they made a new post, but after a couple of days, people were realizing that, okay, this is just another 3-month-long hiatus from Wooly. So, you know, let's go back to other stuff. Apart from that, there was nothing to do in the game when it was released. Also a big deal. Nothing to do in the game means that you're going to be stuck with the grinding experience, and it means that that is going to be your overall notion of the game. So this is just a grindy game and I have nothing to do. Another thing was that between the alpha period, or pre-alpha period, where, you know, YouTubers were testing it and stuff like that, there was a kind of a big gap. It should have been articulated a little bit better, where it's like, okay, YouTubers are testing the game, and like 2 days later you can buy the game, it's awesome. But then again, had it happened the same way, it wouldn't have been possible, because the store wasn't even working, so. And after that, you kind of get the sense that the game isn't being handled by people who really want to handle the game to make it work. Or they want to make it work, but in their own terms. And again, speaking purely from a success standpoint in the indie game industry, or in any industry, momentum is huge. And if you don't take that momentum, then your game is just, you know, perhaps it's not the best thing for you to do right now. But this game had a lot of momentum at different points throughout the years of its development, particularly last year, and the second half of 2012. This game was really, really anticipated. And it just didn't live up to that. And it was very jump-starty, or stop-start. The hype was very like, hype! So cool, and gone. And wow, this stuff is so cool. Look at this new feature, and then it's gone. So yeah. That is my opinion on why I think the game failed. There is nothing wrong with Wooly or Pixie wanting to not have this as their #1 priority. They are obviously free to do so. As a development standpoint, it's not the smartest decision they could have taken. And I'm not bashing them at all. I am fine. I actually like the game. Yeah, I just don't like that I can't do anything in it. Personally, I don't play this game. I can't. What can I do in this game? Like, I don't particularly want to grind for like 3 hours or just to get 2 levels and no items or no quests or no sense of achievement no sense of having achieved anything. So yeah, that is my opinion on why it failed. I do think that it might be possible to organize a comeback if they are really willing to do so, and hype. And I'm saying hype as it's kind of like a buzzword, but it's just just an easy word for you guys to understand what I'm talking about. I think it's a very powerful mechanism to have something work, but it needs to be very, very well maintained and managed in order to work. So yeah. Thank you for watching. On your screen right now, there are a couple of videos of mine. This week, I am free-ish to do videos. I don't have any classes this week, supposedly. And the reason I stopped making videos for a couple of weeks was that I had 2 big mid-semester projects to turn in. I have turned in those projects, so I think I will be able to organize my time a little bit better from now on. And yeah, hopefully you guys understand that. And glad to make videos for you guys, and hopefully you have enjoyed this one. See you on my next video.